Hello students, welcome back. In the last session we have studied information hiding, that is encapsulation and information hiding. In today's session we will study about generators in Python, or you can say generator functions in Python. A generator function is defined like a normal function, but whenever it needs to generate a value, it does so with the yield keyword rather than the return keyword, which is used in a regular function. If the body of a def, that is definition of a function, contains yield, the function automatically becomes a generator function. Now the difference between a normal function and a generator function is that if you include an yield statement inside a normal function also, that function becomes a generator function. So in today's session we will study about generator function. Let's start. Generators are basically functions that return traversable objects or items. So generators are nothing but are functions which returns traversable objects. These functions do not produce all the items at once. Rather, they produce them one at a time and only when required. So in generator function it will not produce all the items at once, it will simply send us one item at a time. Again, that depends on the yield statement which is included in the function. Whenever the for statement is included to iterate over a set of items, a generator function is run. Now we have used for statements to iterate over the number of items. For example, we use a list of items and we declare those items in a for loop to iterate over each item in the list. In that case, automatically a generator function is called. We are not defining a generator function for that, but it is done internally. So generator function, it is used in the for loop when we iterate over a set of items. Generators in Python are created just like how you create normal function using def keyword. As I've said earlier also, generators are created like a normal function. Generator functions make use of yield keyword instead of return keyword. Now the difference between a normal function and a generator function is that in generator function we use yield keyword instead of return keyword, and this is done to notify the interpreter that this is an iterator, and yield is used to notify the interpreter that this is an iterator, or you can say generator. Generator functions are run when the next function is called and not by their name, as in case of normal functions. Now how a generator function is called? Generator function is always called by using a next method, remember. In case of normal function, a normal function is called by using the function name, but generator functions are called by using the next function. Okay, to understand this in a better way, we will go through one simple example here. Okay, look at this example. Okay, if you look at this function is defined like a regular function with a keyword def, the function name, and the parameters. But inside the function we have yield keyword instead of a return keyword. Three yield keywords are used, and yield keyword also works in a similar way like a return keyword, but there is a difference. Yield here, in the first case it is returning 1, in second case it is returning 2, and in third case it is returning 3. Now how this function works? So let us see how we call the function first. So first statement here, if you look at I is equals to simple generator function, that is the function name. What this does, when we call a function here, this statement will not call the function itself, but it will return a generator object, and the generator object here it is I. So simple generator function returns a generator object, and that object we have stored in I. Now using that generator object we can call the next method. Next method in turn calls the function here. So function, like a regular function, we call a regular function, in that way we cannot call a generator function. Generator functions are called by using a next method, but when you simply call the function name, it will return a generator object, or you can say iterator object it will return. Okay, once you have that object, using that object you can call the next method, I dot next. Now how this works? Whenever we call I dot next, it will call the function generator, and it will execute the first statement in the function. So first statement is yield 1. That means this statement will return the value 1 back to the calling function. So we have called it from here, so the 1 is returned for the first time, and generator function always stores the state of a function. The state of a function will not be cleared immediately after returning the value. Like in case of regular function, whenever the value is returned, the state of a function is automatically cleared, or all the variables which have been defined in the function are cleared in the regular function. But in generator function, those variable states are maintained. Okay, so that is first time when you call I dot next, it will simply call the first statement, that is the statement itself is yield, that is why it will return the value 1. But again if I try to call next here, if I say I again dot next, function next, then again it will make a call to the function, but this time it will not call the first statement because state of the function is still saved, so it will go to the next statement. The first statement is already executed, the yield 1 is executed, so it will go to the next, that is yield 2. So whenever I call I dot next the second time, it will execute the second yield and it will return the value, that is 2. If you try to call again I dot next, it will again execute the next statement. The next statement is yield 3 and the value is returned back. The value which is returned here, now it is 3. Okay, if you try to call the I dot next again, if I say again I dot next, this time it again tries to call the function, but there are no other yield statement inside the function. So the function ends at this point, and that is the reason if I try to call it again, it will simply return an exception saying stop iteration. So it will return an exception, that is stop iteration, when again if you try to call the function by using I dot next. Okay, let me execute and show you how it works. Okay, let me define a function directly in the shell itself. I'll not create a separate file. So let me define the generator function here. Def I'll say gen demo. Okay, I'll use a different name here, generator demo, and colon, as this is a function definition. Okay, then we will include some yield statement here, yield 1, then I'll say yield, I can send any value back, yield 2 and yield 3. Okay, so there are 3 statements included in this generator function, and let me first create a generator object. So I is equals to create a generator object, simply call the function name, so gen demo in our case. Okay, so function gen demo simply creates a generator object. Okay, now we will try to make a call to the function by using I dot next method. I'll say I dot next. Now you can see what value it returns. You can see it is returning 1. So whenever I say I dot next, it goes to the function definition. It simply executes the first yield statement and it returns back. If I again try to call I dot next, it will simply return me the next value. Okay, let me show you one more way to call the next method. You can say I dot next, or you can even say next, in bracket you can send the object, that is I. Okay, you can see here it is returning 2. Means first time when we call it, it returned us yield 1, and the state of the function is saved, means it did not start again from the beginning when we call next method for the second time. It only has started from the same statement where it has stopped the last time. Okay, now it has stopped at yield 2, and if I again try to call I dot next, from the same line it will continue execution. It has stopped at yield 2, now it will continue execution with the next line, that is yield 3. Okay, so this is how a generator function works actually. Even we can use a for loop to call the generator function. Okay, if I have to use a for loop instead of I dot next multiple times, we can use a for loop, say for, I'll say I in gen demo. Okay, so whenever I say I for I in gen demo, this will simply gen demo, as we know it returns a generator object, and automatically it calls I dot next every time the for loop is executed. So the value of the yield statement, it is saved in I. So if I print I, it will print the value. Now you can see what it is printing. It is printing 1, 2 and 3. So for loop, as the for loop executes, every time it calls a next method and it will print the values 1, 2 and 3. So even a for loop can be used. Okay, let us look at one more example program here. As you can see in the PPT, we have a function that is def func, and we have a for loop in that function for I in range x. So this for loop will simply iterate for the values of x, so that many time it will iterate, and we have only one statement inside the for loop, that is yield I. So every time the for loop executes, it simply returns the value of I to the calling function. Okay, let me execute and show you this program as well. So let me define the function def function c staking x. Okay, then there is a loop for I in range. You already know how range function works, so there is no need to again explain about the range function. Okay, there has to be a colon. Then we have eld I. Okay, so this is my function, and to call it, first I need to create an iterator object. So I'll say function c, and it is taking an argument. If you look at the function, so I need to send the argument to it. So I'm sending a value 5 there, or I'll take a smaller value, I'll say 3. Okay, so whenever I say function, and when I pass a value 3, this will simply return a generator object, and that is stored in G. And to call the function, I can use G dot next, or I can say next in bracket G as well. And first time when I say G dot next, as you know, it will call the function and it will execute the for loop for I in range. If you know range, the value which we have passed for x, it is 3. So range function simply creates or generates, it will generate a list of values. Starting and ending needs to be specified. When start and end is not specified, by default the start is considered as 0, and here the value of x, it is considered as the end. Means from 0 to 3 minus 1, that is 0 to 2, it will simply creates the list of values from 0 to 2. So first time when the loop is executed, I will have the value 0, and whenever we say eld I, it will return value 0 back to the calling function. So let's see if it returns 0. Now you can see, is it returning 0? Yes. When I again say I dot next, this time again it calls the function, but this time it will not start from the beginning. Remember, I told you generator always saves its state information, and it will begin from the last time where it has stopped. So it has stopped for the I value, that is 0, means eld 0. Again it loops back, I will get the next value, that is 1, and again eld 1 will return the next value, that is 1. Okay, it is returning 1. Again if I try to call I dot next, it will return the next value. It will not again start from the beginning. But if you use a regular function and if you include a return statement instead of eld, every time it will going to start from the beginning. Every time it will return the value 0. The state information is not saved if you are using a regular function, but generator always saves the state and it continues its execution from the next statement or next iteration in this case. Now you can see it is returning me value 2. So this is how a generator function works. Okay, so that's it in today's session. We will stop here. Thank you.